Hey, remember this t-shirt? I'm hoping at least some of you do because this is the t-shirt I was wearing at the end of probably my most popular video to date. And in that video, you will recall I had previously mentioned, not even 2 months earlier, 3 bands who never come to the UK. It was a bit of a complaint I had in another video talking about Miyavi.
For the likes of Cafe Tacvba, Andoshin and Maximum the Hormone, Miyavi's been to London about 5 times in the past decade. You've got no excuse.
So I made that complaint, and then literally less than 2 months later, I find out on the morning of the gig, Maximum the Hormone are in Europe and the UK and in London at a place called the Brixton Electric. Well, it's happened again. I have been receiving little notifications from Brixton Electric since, and about a month ago, an advert pops up on my feed, Cafe Tacvba, one of my absolute favourite bands. My absolute favourite bands are Spanish speaking, and probably one of Mexico's biggest exports musically. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I've been preparing for this one for about the last month or so this time, so it's not quite the same sort of rush around. So yeah, same venue, another band who rarely come to the UK. Put it this way, this band goes to Spain about twice as often as they go to the rest of Europe. I would quite happily have flown out to Spain to see this band. I missed them in 2018 and was absolutely gutted. Before that, the last time they came was 2008, and so I was thinking, projecting that forwards, will they still be making music in 2028? I don't know. They've been going since the late 80s, like Green Day and Manic Street Preachers. They started in the late 80s, they got big in the 90s. And it wasn't looking good, basically, because even with all that success, they've stayed in America quite a lot. I will talk to you more about what the band are like, their general sound, how I came to discover them, so on and so forth, once I'm on the train. But before that, I've got a day of work ahead of me, so I will see you in a bit. Well, if this isn't a familiar situation, got my coffee, waiting in the train station again. I will mention quickly before I get on the train and talk about Cafe Tacvba and all that. I shot myself in the foot a little bit. I have paid less money to get on specific trains, and I need to basically be out of there a little bit before 11. The last bunch of gigs I've gone to have finished well ahead of 11 o'clock, so I was kind of overconfident on that. But I have been to some which have gone a little bit after that curfew, and Cafe Tacvba's sets look pretty damn long. Just understand that I am bricking it a little bit on the old train side of things. Okay, so I found a part of the train where I don't think I'm going to be bothering anybody. So, now I'm here, let me introduce you to Cafe Tacvba if you don't already know them, or at least start from where I came in. So, like a lot of bands that I get into, especially bands that I get into who are more off the beaten track for an anglophone such as myself, this one I came to know through some form of media, a film, a TV show, in this case, a video game. This band featured quite heavily on Little Big Planet back at the beginning of the PlayStation 3 era, and there was this particular level. There was a Dios de los Muertos themed wedding. I can't remember, you had to find like the bride or the groom or something, but I just remember this level, as well as being quite a visually stimulated game, it just had this really infectious bass line and this very tight sort of hi-hat rhythm. And then suddenly all these guitars came in, and like something that sounded like a synth. Later found out it was another guitar. I looked into this song, and this is not so much me going straight to Google. I'm actually looking through like the booklet because I'm thinking like it's going to be something obscure. Find the first Spanish name that I could find, and it's Volver a Convenza, Begin Again, by a band called Cafe Tacvba. From there, I go straight on YouTube. I find that song, and then I start finding more of their catalogue. I find Eres, which is their most viewed song. Olita del Altima, Maria, Esta Vez, just a lot of stuff in there became, over the next few years, some of my favourite songs, and now my playlist features a good 20 to 30 of their songs. There's one particular song which I'm hoping so much now I'm still going to be around at the time to see tonight, all going well with the start time and finish time and the trains and all that. El Baila y El Salon, and it's such an infectious song that if I'm around to see it, fingers crossed, then I'm going to be singing that the whole way home. You got that to look forward to if all goes well at the end of this video, because that's going to be something I'm going to probably be humming. Anyway, I remember this venue from last time. I picked up a few tips. Last time I came here was a very different day. It's actually been sort of drizzly all day. Last time I came here it was about 34, 35 degrees. Hopefully that's not going to be so much an issue today. I don't know, it's kind of an indoor venue, isn't it? But I am prepared this time with cash to get my t-shirt, because I am not dealing with that cash point again. Aside from that, I will probably try, depending on if the band have a policy like Maximum Hormone did, then I probably won't be filming them, but if I can film a bit, then I'll be putting some footage up. Otherwise, I will see you afterwards, because it'll be too loud for me to be able to be heard in there. No travelling shots today, but as you can see, it's a really, really different atmosphere today. Last time I was here, I was in this corner trying to hide myself in the sun. This time I'm trying to hide myself in the rain. Last time I came here for Maximum Hormone, it wasn't like anyone could speak Japanese in the queue. In fact, we all just felt like that wasn't going to be an issue. But in this queue, I feel like I may be the only person who can't speak much Spanish at all, really. I'm not sure if that's going to be a problem. We'll see.
Regalarlo todo.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the fact that that's stuck in my head means I made it to the end of the gig. As in, it finished in good time for me to be here at Brixton train station. I will fill you more about how the gig went in terms of like a play-by-play of my favourite moments and whatnot, but one thing I can say is sometimes when I come to something like this on my own, it can feel kind of lonely. Once again, financial situation meant that I was coming here by myself. But nonetheless, sometimes it's just one of those weird things about finding your tribe, I guess, musically. I didn't understand a word of what I was... Well, I understood maybe every 15th, every 20th word. With Maximum the Hormone, we ended up chanting Tesco because of the huge language barrier between the audience and the band. They made it work, and it was a surreal experience and really enjoyable. But in tonight's performance with Cafe Tacvba, it was like every Mexicana y Mexicano was out in force. I feel like the entire Mexican population of London was here tonight. Even so, just that simple chant of ba 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 la ba ba way way oh, and just the infectiousness of the whole sounds that they've got going on. It's like you find your tribe events like this. Like I said, I'll give you a play-by-play when I'm either on the train or at the other end. Right, so before I get into anything else in terms of the actual show itself, you'll notice that I'm still wearing my Maximum Hormone t-shirt. That's because there was no merch. I did actually see someone wearing a Maximum Hormone t-shirt, and I asked him, where did you get that from? Expecting him to be able to point me towards a table or something, and he just said Mexico in a northern accent. Yeah, I can't go to Mexico, so I can't afford to go to Mexico. The show itself was, this is a band that's been around since the 80s, and they've established quite a following. I think that's the key thing about Cafe Tacvba, is that they can go to any country in the world and put on a show, and basically every South American and Mexican person would come out of the woodwork. I didn't explain earlier about their kind of sounds and what they kind of represent musically. They kind of fill that space for me personally that you might say is a bit like Chili Peppers or Incubus. It's very energetic, it's lively, it's definitely rock music, but it's got an element of sensitivity as well in basically everything they do, and it's fun. Lots of Latin influences brought together with a very sort of 80s slash 90s kind of rock vibe. Like I say, I understood maybe 1 in 20 words, so it wasn't like I was there for the lyrics. It was always going to be about the songs that I've kind of established a sense of, oh, I know how this goes, I know how this works musically. The first sort of few songs, I'd heard them, but like not a lot. It wasn't far in before we got to Volva Commenta, the song that started the whole journey for me with this band, and it was every bit as exciting as I hoped it would be. One bit I really wish I filmed was Alita del Ultima. A bit of a mixed bag, but it's very energetic, very powerful piece of music. But they did a stripped down kind of like an MTV Unplugged version of that, with like the drummer playing sort of brushes on a cajon, and it was like 8-string ukulele type of thing. I thought, well, okay, this is a bit unusual, but okay, I'll go with it. And then it seemed like the song was ending prematurely, and I was like, okay, they've just done half the song. All the lights went off, everyone kind of walked over to different instruments. You thought they were going for the next song, and then they came back with full force. And I wish I captured that on camera, because that was a really special moment for me. One thing I will add is that I was talking about the song El Baila y El Salón, which I was hoping I would see, and in the end I did see it, because the reason I was hoping I would see that is because that is usually what they close with, and so seeing that song would mean that I managed to actually make the whole gig despite this whole nightmare with the trains. Anyway, even if I hadn't made it to that song, that melody would have stuck in my head anyway, because throughout the performance there were various parts where as soon as they were in quiet for a moment, the entire crowd just erupted into it. the crowd was just something very different from what I've experienced before. A very strong sense of patriotism towards Mexico. In fact, actually, one thing I will point out actually to illustrate my point is that I was talking about in the queue earlier how it seemed like I was the only person around who wasn't speaking Spanish. I literally was sat there and I get handed this. As soon as I got that, I was like, okay, I understand now. I'm really sort of the foreigner in this situation. So that was interesting. It was almost, I don't think I've ever been around such a concentration of people speaking Spanish in my life, not even when I went to Spain. The general vibe from the whole gig, you've got Mexican flags waving everywhere, you've got people just bouncing and like really there to party. It was energetic, it was lively, it was bouncing, the place was physically bouncing, and these guys on the stage are in their 50s, right? And it was like the energy they brought themselves was kind of like what I was saying before about Billy Joe Armstrong in a previous video, about how he may well be one of the greatest frontmen to ever live. The guy, Ruben Alvarez, that's his name. Also an incredible frontman through and through, and the rest of the band really quite fun and playful. I've never seen a band who style out a song's sort of breakdown by everyone just sort of handing over their instruments to backing musicians and then doing a choreographed dance routine while there's a solo playing in the background. But it was certainly a very fun atmosphere. Muy divertido. I'm just so happy that I finally got to do this. If there was to come my sort of my neck of the woods again, which in this case would just mean Europe, I would quite happily still go to Spain to see him. If you were at this gig, please let me know what your favourite part of it was, and also what the hell was being said, because I have no idea. All I need now is for Andoshin to announce a tour that covers the UK, and then I will be wrong on 3 counts, delightfully so. That's 2 bands out of 3 that I said never come to the UK. They've now come to the UK in the same year I said that. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of thing. I'm going to be covering another concert in November. I'm not going to say what it is yet. Otherwise, I've got a lot of music content coming up of my own type, sort of covers and discussions and whatnot. Feel free to like this video if this is your kind of thing, to subscribe if what I'm talking about interests you at all, and comment to let me know your thoughts on Cafe Tacvba, on this gig if you went to it, and whatever else really. And with all that said, good night.